Holy crap, we had a crazy night last night. I didn't want to start it out like that. We stayed the night at Egg Island, anticipating sailing towards the Abacos today. But with the wind speed increasing and the seas turning rough, we don't think it's a good idea to try and make the passage and potentially a landfall on a leeward shore in such rough conditions. Especially when landfall involves transiting a cut on a leeward shore complicated by tricky tides. And if there's one thing we've learned in our sailing in the Bahamas, it's that a weather forecast older than 12 hours might as well be from last week. Our biggest concern is finding an anchorage that has complete protection from all sides, because our most recent weather forecast, downloaded just this morning on our inReach satellite communicator, shows the wind completely boxing the compass within the next 24 hours, as well as increasing speed to over 30 knots. We were so relieved to look at the charts and see the dream anchorage just inside of Royal Island, a few miles away. We just motored from Egg Island over to Royal Island. Royal Island has a really nice little bay, a little lagoon. Actually one of the only true like lagoon bay type anchorages I've seen on the whole trip. It's a sweet spot. It took us about an hour to motor over here straight into a heavy wind and chop and against the current. But the place we were anchored on Egg Island, although it was pretty calm, it wasn't going to stay that way. So we decided to get out of there while it was still feasible. And this place is going to be great for however long we got to wait till the weather loosens up just a little bit. And there's quite a few other boats here. As you can see, there's a couple right there. And there's a whole bunch more over there. And we're sitting good. We're in about 4 feet of water. This is a fairly shallow bay, but it's perfect for anchoring. So it's pretty awesome. We're stoked.
Yeah.
This is us. Stoked.
And wet.
Yeah, it's raining and like blowing 20 knots of wind, and there was a pretty steep chop out there. We're wet, but we're doing good, and it's quite a bit calmer. We're not rolling at all here. At the other place, the wind and the swell direction wasn't quite lined up, so we were getting a lot of side roll, which is awful. We can hobby horse a little bit, it doesn't really bother us, but when the boat rolls from side to side, it gets tedious in a hurry.
Especially during the night when we're trying to sleep.
Yeah, it's true. It's one thing when you're sitting up reading a book, but when you're laying down, you roll, like, literally, the boat tries to roll you out of bed, and you can't sleep because you have to, like, stiffen your muscles just to stay laying flat. Even on your back, you'll get rolled over. It's terrible. You can't get any rest that way. Yeah, but we're in a good spot. There's actually some ruins from an old, I don't know if it was a plantation house or just an old mansion type house over there. We passed just on the outside of the island a beautiful looking resort type of place with some really nice like bungalows, if you call them mansion bungalow type places. And then on the inside here is the dock that you take to get to that place, which is nice. Beautiful little spot over there, but I'm sure far out of our budget, as usual. What you up to, Kenzie?
Right now, I'm playing this game.
Oh, sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's like the 7th game I've played today.
7th game?
Oh, I don't know.
Is it a bit dull today?
It's very boring, rainy day.
Yeah, it is pretty rainy and dull out there. We're still chilling here at
Royal Island.
Royal Island, that's right. It's been blowing about 20 knots most of the day. We're in a pretty good anchorage, but we're getting a little bit of swell through the entrance, so it's a little rolly, but
not as bad as the other spot at Egg Island.
Yeah, it's pretty good. We're stoked to be here. It's a little bit monotonous to sit here for days at a time, not even leaving the boat to walk ashore. We could actually if there was anywhere to go, but there's no beaches or anything close by, so we're just sitting here. And sitting, I'm rereading some books. Actually, it's that desperate. I'm rereading books. We're still not sure if we're going to be able to leave tomorrow or the day after or the week after that. No kidding, it won't be that long. Yeah, so we just sit and wait for the next meal, even though we're not hungry, just to break the monotony of sitting and reading and waiting and watching. Everything, it's super muggy. It's actually been raining pretty hard most of the day, so the hatches haven't really been able to be open. Even if the hatches were open and it wasn't pouring rain, it's really muggy and hot, so everything feels sticky and wet, and then you end up sitting in water at some point, so your butt's wet. And it's just wet and sticky everywhere. Like the floor is sticky under my feet and salty, and yeah, it's hot and muggy and sweaty. But we're hanging in there, and we made a nice pot of curry, which was really good. It needed chicken, really needed chicken, but we're vegetarians out here basically. We don't we don't like canned meat, so I'd rather be a vegetarian than eat nothing but nitrates and canned pork. So we're vegetarian curry eaters, and we made a big batch of it, so we'll have more for dinner tonight. But we're waiting until a little bit later. Otherwise, we'll just get bored again and eat snacks all night.
Yep.
Yep, that's what we're doing. That's it. Crazy. It's just, yeah, it just doesn't stop.
It's constant and like right on top of us.
Yeah. Still got our anchor light up there. We haven't been hit. Should have unplugged the radio though.
Holy cow, we had a crazy night. I have never seen lightning like that. In my whole life. I mean, I've never seen a tenth of that kind of lightning.
Nowhere even close to that.
For 3 hours straight, it was like a strobe light outside, like lightning every second to 3 seconds for three.
Some of them like even half a second. Like it was multiple lightnings going on at the same time.
Yeah, like 3 strikes a second sometimes. It was gnarly. And for a good hour and a half, it was right over us, striking the island like all around us, which is close. Like we're only like 300 feet from the island at places. Like it was right on top of us. Our electronics were doing weird stuff, like turning off and on by themselves because of the EMP blast from the lightning. It was crazy. Holy cow.
Yeah, we did not sleep most of the night. We sat right here on the settee, like huddled up, just like, is it gonna pass? It was really scary.
And the wind was coming from all sorts of directions. It'd come out of the west, then come out of the east, and then come out of the north, and be dead calm for like half an hour. I mean, like dead calm. Like it felt like we were like cast in concrete.
Yeah.
No wind. You could have dropped a feather from the masthead and it would just landed on deck. And no ripple, anything. And then the wind would come up again from a different direction. We'd swing across the other way. It was just gnarly. It rained 3 inches last night. We had a bucket out in the cockpit just randomly, and yep, there's 3 inches of water in that bucket. It was gnarly storm. Whoa. Yeah. It was crazy. I didn't know lightning could be like that. We're from the West Coast and we don't have lightning over there. We're pretty much we're sissies about it. But I was so glad that I installed that lightning rod and grounded everything on the boat with the huge cables and installed the big lightning ground dissipating plate on the bottom of the hull. Oh, that was some good mental ease in a time like that.
Trying to figure out why our battery monitor's not working. I'm going through the setup, making sure it's still programmed correctly. It was doing some weird things in the lightning storm last night, like it turned on by itself, the little screen, which doesn't happen unless you push a button. So it was getting some weird current through it, or something, and it seems to still be programmed correctly, but it's not giving us a state of charge of the batteries, which is what it does. Like, that's what we need it for. So I don't know what's wrong with it now. The Victron battery monitor's programming didn't erase, so that's nice. I don't have to reprogram everything. I reset it, and it seems to be working all right, although now it thinks the batteries are full, which they're not. We're at about 88% state of charge or thereabouts last time I looked. So definitely not full, but not low either. So it thinks our batteries are full now, so it's basically of no use to us until we get the batteries charged up again, and it can start over. What it does is it counts amp hours used and amp hours put back into the battery up and down, and it thinks it's full. So until we get it full again, it won't know what we're counting. But at least it's not broken. That's good.
Like that. I don't know if we took a partial hit or not with all the EMP stuff going on with our electronics, turning on and off on their own and stuff. Yeah, who knows? With stuff crashing all around like that, we don't know.
Yeah, it was really scary when it got really calm too, because usually when it gets calm like that, it means we wrapped the kill. And I was like so sick to my stomach because I thought we wrapped the kill, because the boats that are anchored next to us were on the opposite side of the boat than what they were before, earlier in the night. And so I thought we had spun around and maybe they hadn't. And there was just lightning striking completely all around us, so we couldn't even go outside to check it. And so we're just like, there's nothing we can do. We just hoped that it didn't wrap the kill, and it didn't, so that's good.
But we are super stoked to be in a great anchorage. Just luck of the draw on that one, and we made it through okay.
Now it's a bright sunny day.
Super calm. Yep.
Super calm. Nice
great weather
breeze.
for the passage we wanted to make, but we're toast, so there's no way we're getting out there today.
So right over there is where we saw the lightning strike the island, and then right after that it struck like right above us. We were pretty scared.
So we're still trying to make headway, clawing our way north up to the Abacos. We've just got one more hop to make. It's about 53 miles, and we'll be there in the protected waters on the Abaco bank inside the reef and everything. But the wind has been a little bit higher lately, so it makes for a rough crossing. So we're really waiting for a nice weather window, which fortunately we can do.
We let the rain soak our towels.
On purpose?
On purpose, to rinse them, because they were getting kind of smelly just from being wet all the time. So hopefully they will dry out nicely and not smell bad.
We're just cooking a little bit of rice here for dinner. We're going to make some fried rice. We're going to get up early in the morning, probably 4 or 5 a.m., and make our run for the Abacos. We got about 12 to 14 knots of wind straight out of the west. So we'll be wind coming out of the west. We're sailing north. We'll have a nice good beam wind, which is awesome. We love sailing with the wind on our beam. It works great. The swells might be a little bit confused because the predominant swells are still coming out of the east, but the new wind waves will be coming out of the west. But it shouldn't be too bad. They're only calling for forecasts of 2-foot swells, so pretty light and easy really.